Welcome in, Jeremy Popielarz here with you as always. It's Sunday morning. It is week 6. We have more London games. This one, not too bad. Apparently, it's a Cole Kmet week. I was a little bit not totally in on that one there. We'll see. A tight end, it's a crapshoot. Anyways, we'll call it that for lack of better terms. But yeah. So far, it's a decent game. We're not here for the game that's already started. We've already made that decision on whether we should have started or not started the players that are playing currently. Hopefully, you started Caleb Williams. He's having a good day. Good day so far, thus far. Trevor Lawrence, not so much, but, we'll get there. We have plenty of questions that have come in earlier this morning. I will get through those as well as any questions that you guys have right now. Toss them into the comments here. If you're on YouTube, toss them in the comments. It's simple. Same thing as X. Typically, the X ones do show up if you are watching on the main feed over at FTN Fantasy. If you're not, or if you want to head over to the YouTube, you can also do that. Whichever direction and decision you choose to make, go ahead and do that, and I will get through all of these questions hopefully here before 12:30. We'll go over some inactives as well once those come out. Here for week 1, we obviously have plenty of injury questions and some crazy turnarounds from IRs to starting to blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, we got a lot to get through here and some questions to get through here on this Sunday morning. So, let's dive into it. Sean, you are here this morning already. Good morning. Sermon or Shaheed? It's a really, really good question, I think, at this point in time. Sermon has that role, but they're not going to have Jonathan Taylor today. But again, outside of a touchdown, not the best. And Tennessee's been a little bit tougher against the run defense as opposed to the pass defense. And Goodson could see a little bit of the passing work. Sermon will probably see some. Also, they may not see a ton with Anthony Richardson playing. So I'm a little bit less in on Trey Sermon. I think I'd roll the dice on Rashid Shaheed, even though it is Spencer Rattler. It is a weak secondary in Tampa Bay. And Rattler can throw a deep ball. If anything, that's one of his better traits of all. So I would probably go ahead. I'd roll Rashid Shaheed there. A little bit of a dice roll, less of a safer play. But I think ultimately it will be the right play to go Rashid Shaheed. Footballer on X here, we've got him. Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, or Michael Pittman. I'm going to go Amari Cooper. I'm still a little bit higher on him this week. I'm still holding out hope. The usage has been there. It's just been a little bit of a lackluster performances from Amari Cooper. I still think, though, the usage is there for him, and I think that he can still have a good day. Jeremy Ransom on X. We have Rashad Bateman, Allen Lazard, Cortland Sutton, Romeo Doubs. Non-PPR start 2. So I'm going to go with Dubes and Sutton here. Those would be my 2 for you. I think that those 2 are in a decent spot. Lazard has the Bills, who have not been super great against wide receivers this year. But they have been a little bit leakier, and it's going to be a game that really the Jets need to win. I think that they'll look to Lazard's way, a little bit of that rah-rah from making the coaching change. And then Cortland Sutton gets the Chargers, another tough matchup, but still the primary guy in that Denver passing attack. We've got Brian Jerkins on X, Ladd McConkey, or Jalen Tolbert. That one is Tolbert for me. He has a really good matchup against Detroit. Also a game that I think is a little bit more back and forth than we would have here in the Denver matchup for Ladd McConkey. Let's see here. Aisho Vias, Shakir, or Okonkwo in the last spots for Jeremy Ransom. I'd play Shakir if you have another option here, Jeremy. Just really depends, though, because if you don't have that other option, I would probably go Iso Vias then. I don't really like either of them, truthfully, Jeremy, but, we have situations on our hands here with plenty of injuries out there. Let's see here. Pittman plays. Would you start him over Roshan, Audrey Gustame, or Kendrick Miller? Kind of missed the boat on that one. Optimistic Vikings fan. But I would overestimate and Miller if you didn't play Rojo. Let's see here. Aaron on X, need one. Javante, Dowdle, Leggett, or Mooney already starting London. I'd probably still play Mooney. It's always a tough go. You got Mooney in London. Two good starts, but if you have them on the same roster, I get the concern on wanting to start them. Sometimes you got it. I feel like in that situation there, you have to, Aaron. Rovio going through injury slug this week. Need to pick two out of these groups here. Eckler, Gibson, and Sermon. For the running backs, that would be Eckler and Gibson for me. And then wide receivers, Pickens, Slayton, or McConkey would be Pickens and Slayton. Not the worst that I have seen here this morning and or in the past. Here, Rovio, I think that you got a good options here for both of those teams. Giles, Lamont, good morning. Standard scoring, Trey Sermon or Javonte Williams. I'd go Javonte. He's looking better every week, getting a little bit better. Denver's been surprising as well. The run game hasn't been great, but I do think Javonte has a better chance of getting in the end zone than Trey Sermon does today. Kale, hey, happy Sunday again. It is another Sunday, another football Sunday. Hopefully another successful one. KL, Cooper or Shaheed. I'm still going to go Cooper here. I did just talk about Shaheed being like a decent option here with Rattler. I wouldn't say that he's completely useless at this point, more of like that flex wide receiver free territory. But I still like Amari Cooper. I mean, I know it, and maybe it's me being bullish to expect that Deshaun Watson turns it around a little bit. But I don't even know if he has to turn it around, to be honest. Amari Cooper just has to wake up a little bit here. He's had the target share. He's had more drops than I can remember in a short period of time in his career. I think that the targets are there, the air yards, everything that we want indicates to a positive regression from Amari Cooper. At some point, he gets an easy Philadelphia secondary today, so I'm going to go that route with you there as Amari Cooper. Let's see here. Inuit on X, Chase Brown or McDickles. I would go Brown. The Ravens give up the most through the air to the running backs, so I'm not really looking for McNichols in this matchup. It's more of an Austin Eckler play. Adrian, Tolbert or Wicks if Watson sits. I still would go Tolbert. I think he's in a really good spot for this matchup this week. Let's see here. Full PPR for BKK Kids Meal. One wide receiver, one flex, Deontay, Flowers, Mooney, and Mixon. I would go Deontay and Flowers there. I'll go Mixon. My apologies. Snuck that one in there in the last. I'd go Deontay and Mixon. Let's see here. Harrison Jr. or T. Higgins started Ayuk and Mason Thursday flex options. I would go Marvin Harrison Jr. here for whatever. Let's see here. Pollard or Higgins. That one would be Pollard for me for Bobby Jelankin. Morning, Mike. What's up here? We got sit one Dowdle, Deontay Johnson, or Rashid Shaheed. I'd probably say Dowdle here, Mike. I don't love the matchup. Do I think he could get in the end zone? Probably. That would be what probably saves him a little bit here in this matchup against Detroit. Detroit's run defense is very good, so I'm not expecting much from Rico Dowdle today unless he does manage to get in the end zone, but it's tough to rely on that. So I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson and Shaheed. I mean, I guess it's your choice. Do you trust that Dallas can get Dowdle in the end zone against a stout Detroit defense, or do you think Rattler can't get the ball to Shaheed? I prefer the latter. I think that Shaheed can get the ball from Rattler. I think Rattler throws a decent deep ball, so I think that we should be okay there. So I would go Deontay Johnson and Shaheed, try to limit the lack of potential bust. To me, it feels like Dowdle could be a bigger bust for you than we could see from Shaheed. Let's see here. Gotcha on that one, Giles. Let's see here. Need to Jason, Kamara, Irving, or Irving. Sorry, Bucky Irving twice, yeah. I'm going to go Kamara and Irving. Pretty easy there, Jason. Feel like you messed that up a little bit, but we'll see. Cole, Batser, Allen, or Ertz. I would go Braylon Allen here. It's not like a crazy expectation for me from Braylon Allen, but I don't think the answer is Zach Ertz for the Washington attack here today. I think that's going to be Terry McLaurin, Diami Brown, kind of the receiver territory there. We got Courtney on X. Would you change anything? We got Derrick Henry, Pollard, A.J. Brown, Zay Flowers, Joe Mixon. Let's see here. We got Akers, Bowers on the bench. McConkey, Olave. No. No, I like that. I like it as it sits. Courtney looks good to me. No needs there to change anything. We got Kathy, Fields, or Richardson. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to go Fields here. A little bit easier of a matchup, Kathy, than it is for Anthony Richardson. Also, Fields has shown a little bit more upside to his game this season than Anthony Richardson has. And obviously, battling that hip injury could be a ticking time bomb out there from Anthony Richardson. Chase Brown, Shaheed, or Antonio Gibson for Max. I'm going to go Gibson. It's a good spot against Houston. Houston can be beat against the run, especially through the air. And I think Gibson can get that job done. I think they'll probably bring up like Kevin Harris and probably be a little bit more of the pounder than Gibson will. And I think we'll see some explosiveness, at least today, from Antonio Gibson. And especially with Drake May, they're going to lean a little bit more on the run as opposed to just, throwing them to the Wolves would be my guess. Be a smart move. Can't guarantee that, though. So we got Joe Mixon, Tyrone Tracy, or Antonio Gibson for Eric. I would go Tracy here. I think Tracy's in a really good spot. No Singletary. I'm sure we'll see Eric Gray for some of the period of time, but not fully guaranteed to see Eric Gray the entirety of the game, obviously. So we'll see if what we get from that group. But I think Tracy against the Cincinnati Bengals is a good spot for him. Let's see here. Trying to multitask here, folks. Not working. Let's see here. Got lost here. Irving, Rico, Pitts, and Flex for half PPR. Also, to drop Josh Downs for Jalen Waddle. I would go Irving as your start, although I don't love Bucky Irving today. I think he could have a solid day, but I'm not claiming he's going to be a running back one by any means. New Orleans is a pretty stout defense against the run. I would drop Downs. Only if he's not starting for you. I mean, Downs to Waddle here, Jason. Makes sense if you're talking about a bench stash. I would much more prefer Jalen Waddle than I would Josh Downs for the long run here. Corey, morning, Corey. Kyler Murray or Jared Goff? I'm going Kyler. I see you added in here that you do have him on Raw. Could be a nice little stack, but like in a standard league, the stacks don't always need to be preferenced. I still like Jared Goff as a low-end quarterback one, but I have Kyler Murray more as that mid-range quarterback one. So I'm going to roll Kyler Murray here for you, Corey. I think he's in a good spot against Green Bay. Tootsie Pop, what is up, Rachel? Baker or Stroud, then Baker or Hurts? I would go Stroud and Hurts. I don't hate Baker this week. New Orleans is going to be a little bit tougher matchup than it would be, say, against Atlanta. He still has Godwin, but Mike Evans against Lattimore, we know how that all goes. Both of them could be ejected in the second play. Both of them could make the entirety of the game, and most likely Evans will have the worse than the Lattimore side. So I'm not totally in on Baker. I think he's a quarterback too. I still think Stroud will be fine without Nico Collins against the New England defense. I think they get Tank Dell involved, Stephon Diggs. So another week to plan not having Nico Collins in their game plan, which they didn't have against the Bills. And I think Jalen Hurts will be fine with the returning of his weapons as well. So I'm going to roll with the two more premier quarterbacks in Stroud and Hurts there, Rachel. Browns defense or Bills defense, keep in mind I have Hurts and Barkley starting. I don't think that really matters. I mean, I guess in rooting interests, it probably helps if you don't start the Browns. Either way, I wouldn't start the Browns. I'd play the Bills. I could easily see that this game being a very meh game to the point that it's, 12-9, to be honest. A lot of playmakers missing on the Bills side. The Bills defense is solid. The Jets defense is solid, always has had Allen's name. And the Jets offense has just been blech. So the downside is that the Jets should be able to run the football very well against the Bills, and that could be where that starts to get away from the Bills. But if they can get up-ish, maybe they can eliminate some of that run game. So I'd probably go with the Bills. I think there's more likely chance of a turnover than there would be for the Browns. Kenny, we got Bucky Irving or Tyrone Tracy here on X. I would go Tracy. Michael Neubauer here. We've got start two of these running backs: Harris, Mixon, Tracy, and Gibson. Oh, that's a good grouping. I would go Mixon and Tracy. Let's see here. The Bull, Wandell, or Darius Slayton. I would go Wandell. AR/Paco or Herbert. I would go Anthony Richardson there. Grant Myers, Goff, or Kyler would be Kyler. And Devonta or Bucky Irving would be Devonta. Running back 2, wide receiver 3, flex out of these 3 for Sports Freak on X. We've got Gibson, Tracy, Tolbert, Wicks, and Leggett. So I'd probably play Gibson, Tracy, and Tolbert. Yeah, that'd be my play. Sports Freak. Jason, good morning. Tracy, you're mixing full point PPR. Mixon. It's close. I Mixon at 17, Tracy at 19. I feel like Mixon just might be more of a little bit workhorse-y. I know Tracy was kind of last week. So it's kind of coin flip-esque territory here for these two. But I do lean to the side of Mixon. I think the offense is a little bit better. I think he finds the end zone. Tracy, I still worry you might see a little bit of Eric Gray. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays a little bit of a dud into our comparisons of what we're hoping for from Cincinnati. Especially if they get down, like we could see them just throw a lot more than getting that opportunity to get Tracy out there on the ground. We've got John Michael Schmidt, Slayton, or Evans. I would go Slayton. It's risky. But I'd probably lean Slayton over Mike Evans. G, Devontae Smith, Tank Dell, or Josh Jacobs start a war? That's a tough call. It's between Smith and Jacobs for me here, G. Jacobs is in a good spot against Arizona to be running all over the yard. I'm going to go with Jacobs. I'll take the safety of the running back. A little bit more there than Devontae Smith. You can only start one for John Doe here on X, Amari Cooper, Wandell, or Tyrone Tracy. I like Tracy. Like I said, a little bit of worry with Eric Gray, though, there for you, John Doe. I like Cooper against Philadelphia, though. Even though in half PPR, though, Wandell's pretty intriguing, too. I think I'm going to go Cooper here for you, John Doe. I think that's where I'm at. Yeah, let's go with Cooper. Hopefully Watts shows up and we can get a good day out of Amari Cooper today. Dilly Bubbles, Ford, Tracy, or Hopkins. This one's a little easier. We'll go Tracy there for you, Dilly Bubbles. Andrew Mixon or Dobbins. I'm actually going Dobbins here. I think he's in a decent spot. I know Denver's been better against the run, but they're really still just bad. Just teams just don't really run on them for some reason. So I think today you're going to see that. The Chargers are going to want to run the football, and I think J.K. Dobbins will be the benefactor there. Let's go blue. Whew, bless me. Sneezing all over the place here. Tracy or Wandell would be Tracy for me. Tracy or Cooks for Mr. Street. I will go Tracy. I think you mean James Cook. Worried he may not play, so I would go Tracy there. Hey, what's up, Gil? Early waivers question, PPR drop, Quentin Johnston or Mike Williams to take a look at Xavier Hutchinson, or am I overthinking it? Probably overthinking it, to be honest. I mean, Hutchinson could have a decent day, but I'm not banking on him being much of anything. Quentin Johnston is probably my play. Make your pick between those two, Gil, whichever you like. But Hutchinson's really a short-term option. Mike Williams and Quentin Johnston could have long-term value still, obviously, because they have roles within their offenses, where Xavier Hutchinson's going to be just maybe a fill-in for Nico Collins for a few weeks. He's not going to earn himself a role over any of the other players. So I would probably go Johnston and Williams and just hold on to them and ride it out, as long as you don't need an immediate spot start type of player. Behind me on X, Tracy or Williams. Let's see here. I would think I'm leaning Tracy. Just want to double check my rankings. Yeah, I'll go with Tracy here. A little bit more of a better matchup, both in a split backfield. Javonte has looked better, but I still like Tyrone Tracy. Laura B, Tracy or Jamison Williams. I will go Tracy there as well. Good spot for him. Again, not super great. I still just Jamison Williams' target value is just too low for me to start over a guy that's going to potentially be the lead running back and see, 20 or 30 touches, as opposed to Jamison, who might, have 5. So Dynasty FF Dad, Irving or Tracy. I'll go Tracy. Both similar situations going into this week. Tracy has a better matchup than Bucky Irving. K Streets, bench Garrett Wilson, and should I start Wandell Robinson or J Mo? I would play Wilson. If you do bench him, though, go Wandell. Exit 10, what do you think about starting McNichols due to Robinson injury? KJ, please sit one. Mixon, Gibson, or Tracy. It'd probably be Gibson in that situation for me. Brendan Fran on X, Love or Kyler? I would go Love in this situation here, Brendan. They are back-to-back my rankings. That's what I had to check there real quick. But yeah, I do have Love slightly ahead of Kyler Murray. Catamount, Likely, or Schultz? I'll go Schultz in this situation. I think that he could have a pretty big day. Likely could as well. It's a weak secondary against Washington, so it's kind of a 50-50 split. But I'll go slightly to Schultz as they're missing their top receiver. Brian Ludwig, Dontavian Wicks, or Darius Slayton. I would go Slayton. Similarities of roles. We saw Slayton kind of really explode last week. And I think the Giants will have to throw a little bit more, potentially, than Green Bay. Waking up to see DJ Moore do nothing against the defense you're supposed to. Yeah. You're telling me, David, watching that, seeing 2 Cole Kmet touchdowns has been less than exciting for me as well. Than a Keenan Allen touchdown, that never helps. No. I'd love to see a little bit of Romo Dunze at some point in their lives, but we'll see. Taking a little bit. Although Evan Ingram exploding is a nice day if you did get your chance to start Evan Ingram. MS on X need 3. Moss, Dowdle, Ford, Ridley, have PPR. Probably going to go Moss, Ridley, and Dowdle there. Drop Wicks to pick up and flex Tyrone Chase and balance at wide receiver. Just not sure if I should give up on Wicks with Dukes and Watson back or almost back too soon. I would do that. I'd grab Tracy for Wicks. Nick Robinson, Njoku, or Otten would be Njoku. Yeah, I'm not in Kate Otten. Good player, not really a good fantasy player, to be honest, Nick. Just kind of just ride it with David Njoku. Is way more upside. Rico or James Cook for Tiffany. Learned from week 1 where I told people that CMC was going to play. If you don't have a pivot, Tiffany, from James Cook, you have to play Rico, unfortunately. AL, I have a 2-parter. Ooh, good old 2-part question. Which 2 running backs would you start out of Mixon, Hubbard, and Cook? And would you flex the 3rd over Deontay? So Mixon and Hubbard. And no, Cook is more not too low, in my opinion. I also would really say with James Cook questions, I'm leaning towards he's probably not going to play. He may, and if he does, I'm sure we'll see some Ty Johnson and Ray Davis. So unless you have a really good pivot, like in this situation, you've got Mixon, Hubbard, and Deontay, like those 3 are fine. Just play those 3 and don't worry about the James Cook dilemma. David also has Irving, Cook, Pickens, Ridley, Mooney, bench 1. So David, again, unless you have a player to potentially play for James Cook, I'm probably unfortunately having to bench him. My choice, if I had one, would be Pickens. But again, unless you have a player to plug in for James Cook, I feel like you have to sit him in this situation, David. Super flex for James here. Andy Dalton, Drake May, Darius Slayton, or take the chance on injured James Cook on Monday night. See, knew that was going to happen. There are 2 James Cook questions in a row. James, yeah, if you don't have a pivot, you can't risk it. Like a 0 is a 0, and that hurts even more than trying to go with at least Dalton, May, or Slayton in this situation. So for me, I would probably go Slayton or Dalton. Now, obviously, Superflex, you want to go with a quarterback, but year 2 here, I don't love this week, so I would probably honestly lean Darius Slayton. So I'd go Darius Slayton, I think, James. Betboy, Tracy, or Wandell Robinson would be Tracy here on X. Degens and Pigskin, Laporta or Kraft. I would go Laporta. Jerry on X, Pickens, Dobbins, or McConkey would be Dobbins. Let's see here. Dr. B, Goddard, Laporta, or Kraft would be Laporta. Ashley, Jerome Ford, Wicks, or Downs. Thanks in advance. I would go Wicks here. Not loving the Indy receivers. I know Josh Downs has had a little bit of a run, but I don't know if that will be the same with Anthony Richardson. What if I wait and then pick up? Yeah, I mean, you can do that, David. That's what I'm saying. That's just where that pivot is. I would do that. I would wait. I would sit Pickens, play Irving, Ridley, Mooney, Cook, and then pick up Davis or Johnson, whoever you can get. Maybe do it today. Take your choice. I would probably lean Ray Davis as opposed to Ty Johnson. Maybe add them today just so that they're on your roster if you can, if you have a player to drop or move something around, or a player you're working to start that will then at least be on waivers and you can pick back up if you need to. Just so your opponent doesn't block you in case they have that opportunity. People do like to do that. Cactus Carl, non-PPR, choose one, Ridley, Pickens, or Javonte Williams. I'd probably go Ridley. I know it's not PPR, but Ridley's in a good spot against Indianapolis. If there's a day that he's going to return to our good graces, it would be today. Noki, Cousins, or Daniels. I'm going Jaden Daniels. Non-PPR, Tank Dell or Jerome Ford. I would still go Dell there for Cactus Carl again. Let's see here. Downs or Jake Ferguson in flex for O'Roy. I'll go Ferguson. For sure there. James Huff, Superflex PPR. Should I throw in Andy Dalton? Nope. We just hit you with that one, James, on the show. Picture. Let's see here. Ernie, Sheffro, Javonte Williams, Chase Brown, or Tracy. Non-PPR would be Tracy. Gill, 4-point passing touchdowns, AR or Fields. Oh, Flacco's in, is he? I have not. Inactives are coming. Has that happened yet? Aha. That changes a lot of questions, to be honest. Honestly, I'd play Fields, I think, still, Gil. This has been quite a run for injury designations this week, and changing a lot of situations. So if you had a question, if I'm being honest, with involving Joe Flacco, and or any of these said Indianapolis receivers, and even honestly Trey Sermon, they all get a little bit of a bump up here with Flacco starting as opposed to Anthony Richardson. So that even gives Michael Pittman a bump if he manages to get in on here. It's still a tough matchup here for this Indianapolis offense. Just moving some rankings around here with the news of that. But yeah, I would say, yeah. So for example, Downs, Gibson, Ridley, Najee. I would play Downs and Ridley both in that game, especially in PPR for sure. Yep. Just moving some of this around here. It makes Pittman also intriguing. Like I said, if Pittman goes, I would be more in on him now this week than I was a few moments ago. Let's roll back here. Caden Slayton or McBride would be McBride. OC, Zay Flowers, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, or Dowdle for flex. I would go Flowers here, and I would go Love at quarterback OC. Dan Turter, Cooper, Dowdle, or Chase Brown. I'll go Cooper. Let's see here. Wandell, Tyrone, Tracy. Let's see here. I'll go Tracy. Let's see here. LJ Gibbons, PPR flex, Wilson, Dubes, or Madison. Would be Dubes for me there. David. Okay, so Mooney, Ridley, or Irving. Probably Irving. Be between Irving and Ridley for me, David. So I guess it depends. Maybe bench. Yeah, so it'd be between Ridley and Irving. I lean Irving. I know he's got the lead role. I know, and he could have some good checkdowns, but I don't love the matchup against New Orleans. They're pretty stout against the run. So I'd probably go Mooney, who's in a plus matchup, and Calvin Ridley, who's in a really good matchup. Especially with Flacco, honestly, even playing also kind of helps the Titans. Like they're going to have to throw a little bit more. Flacco's going to make that offense run just a little bit better than Anthony Richardson would. Change anything here? We got Pollard, Williams, Devontae Smith, Reed. Got Tracy on the bench, so I would go Tracy over Williams. D Money, Najee Tolbert, or Chase Brown would be Tolbert for me there. Cook or Sermon, worried Cook splits carries if he plays, re-injured, picked up Ty Johnson in case. I would probably play Trey Sermon here, just in case for you, Daniel. Yeah, I get it. I agree. I don't think Cook will have his full workload. Ty Johnson and Ray Davis will likely be involved in that. Jeremy Schneider, choose 1 point PPR. Olave, Slayton, Sermon, or Dowdle. I'd go Slayton. Tight end flex for Mike Otten or Schultz would be Schultz for me. Steven, Tyrone, Tracy, or Tolbert. I would go Tracy there. Tight. Let's see here. Emmanuel Wilson or Jalen Warren would be Warren. I know he's coming off the injury, but I think he'll be all right. Troy, Javonte Williams, or Mooney. I'd go Mooney. How should I start today? Trey Tucker, Chase Brown, Tracy, Sutton. I would say Tracy. And Cook if you have option to pivot. If not, I would play Brown. Or I'd play Sutton. All right, let's see here. Ricky Walsh, PPR running backs. Who would I start? Eckler or Irving? That's Eckler for me. I think Eckler's in a better spot this week. Better game script for him. So let's see here. I got Keenan and Bijan at running back, got Bucky Irving in flex. So between them three and a wide receiver 2 spot, may look at upside with boom or bust. Pierce or pick up Lazard. Pick up Lazard. Or no. Okay, sorry, this question is confusing both. But I think it's between Pierce and Lazard. I would just play Lazard because you have to make the move to pick up Lazard. There, Dale. So I would just. Let's see here. Benji, morning, needs some help with flex PPR. Who would you start? Mixon, Wandell, or Javonte? I'd play Mixon. There for you, Benji. Jesse McGinnis, Dontavian Wicks, or Javonte. I would go Williams there. Let's see here. Chris Clark on Zach Moss or Austin Eckler full PPR. Do I start Mooney or MHJ? I would go Eckler here. And I would still go Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris. Write him out. He's sliding down rankings, but not to the point where I'm not starting him. Brad Sermon or Gibson, I would go Gibson. High times Vikings need 2 running backs and 1 flex. Cook, Tracy, Gibson, Goldberg or Tolbert. I would go Tracy, Gibson, and Tolbert. There. Deontay Johnson or Devontae Smith. I would go Deontay Johnson. Okay, here. Let's see. Next league, Bills running backs are available. Do I start Cook or Tracy? I start both match one of. I'm not sure who Johnson is, David, but I would probably just start Tracy in that situation, David, and Cooper and Johnson. They get us Deontay Johnson, so Ray start 2 in standard, 6 points per touchdown. Deontay Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Tolbert, or pick up Slayton. I don't think you need to pick up Slayton. I would play Deontay Johnson and Tolbert, right? I think those are your 2 best options there. Let's see. I see some of the inactives are out. Take a peek at those. Baltimore, nothing crazy. Nothing too crazy. Some secondary stuff there for Cleveland. Green Bay, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy for Houston. Anthony Richardson, obviously, we just talked about that. Flacco is starting for the Colts. Javon Baker's inactive. Stevenson for the Patriots. Kendre Miller's inactive for the Saints. Not that we were starting him, but there's talk he may play. Let's see here. Rashad White's out. No surprise as he was doubtful headed in. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Yeah, Keenan Allen, David. Apparently it was his day. I didn't have him ranked accordingly as it should have been, as it's showing at this point in time. Hindsight's 2020, David. Hindsight's 2020. Let's see here. House, Trey Sermon, or Alan Lazard. I would go Sermon there for you, House. Christian Watson or Darius Slayton for K Street. I'd go Slayton. Christian Watson train has passed, folks. Let's be honest. There may be a play here or there, but to the point that I am not comfortable starting Christian Watson. Let's put it that way. By any means necessary, I would avoid that one. Jerome Ford or Trey Sermon for Cheese. I would go Sermon there. Like I said, I know it may surprise some people. It may not surprise as many. I'm not 100% sure there. But this Colts offense will be significantly better. I guess we shouldn't say significantly. Will probably be a little bit better than it would have been if Anthony Richardson was in and obviously hurt to the point. I mean, they're giving him just an extra break is what their verbiage is. But still, to the point where he's probably not 100%. I wouldn't be trotting him out there. They get a little bit of a bump with a healthier Flacco. Tucker over Watson easily for me here. Someone answering a question. Let's see here. Blue Force. I need 2 out of Chase Brown, Sutton, or Olave. And will you start mixing over Pollard or Bucky Irving? Let's see here. I would go Brown and Olave. And then I would play Pollard over Mixon. And Mixon over Irving. Reset season Olave or Bucky Irving at flex. Likely won't matter though because I started ETN this week. Yeah, ETN, another one. I expected this rushing attack to be a little bit better against the Bears today. Not so much. Yeah, so ETN killing us out here. Oh, look, and Tank Bigsby just put the football on the ground on a kick return. Boy, oh boy, the Jags are self-destructing in front of our eyes. I would go Olave there, reset season. Umar Aslam, start 2, Tracy Downs or Deontay Johnson. Downs and DJ. Would be my plays there. Much like I said, with the news that we have a Joe Flacco-led offense, I would definitely be trying to find my way to get Josh Downs into my lineups. For sure. 100% would be trying to get him into the lineups. Yeah, 1-5 though, you still got one win on the table there, reset season. Like, it's not over by any means. I'm sure it doesn't feel great for sure at 1-5, but I think we could still get you back around. I gotta just make the playoffs. That's all that matters. We preach it a lot here at FTN, no matter who the analyst is. You just got to make the dance. Once you're in the dance, it's a free for all. And if you can get there, which I think we can get you there at 1-5, depending on what the team looks like. If it's an injury based, we got ETN, et cetera, which you obviously mentioned you have ETN in. There could be some bounce back there still for you to be had. Josh Downs over Olave for sure. Reset season. I think both will have strong days, but I think Josh Downs is the guy this week for Joe Flacco. Troy, Downs, Wicks, or Kraft would be Downs. Definitely changes. I know a lot of people love the Anthony Richardson, and Anthony Richardson is a talent, but this offense just does run better with Joe Flacco than it does with Anthony Richardson at the current state that they're in. 18. Yes, please, David. I would need that as well. I'd love a DJ Moore touchdown. 100%. But apparently it's just Cole Kmet Day, David, and I was wrong, and I apologize. I'll say it right now. I was wrong. Oh, there it is. Oh, he fell at the 1-yard line. Oh, no, they gave it to him, David. There it is. They gave it to him. There it is. Although I was wrong, I guess Keenan Allen should have been the wide receiver 7 this week as opposed to DJ Moore because, he was down. That's coming back. Ain't no way. boys and girls, that's going to count. Ain't no way. Yeah, they took it back. Gosh dang it, David. You and me both want that DJ Moore touchdown. Ron, good morning. Start to Zach Moss, Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, Wandell Robinson. Robinson for sure, and I prefer Zach Moss to Chase Brown, so I would go Robinson over Zach. Robinson and Zach Moss over Chase Brown. If you prefer Chase Brown, go Chase Brown. That one's another coin flip in a tandem running back field, so I would probably lean Robinson for sure as a lock. And then I like Moss. I think there's more likelihood that he gets more usage in this game script that I am currently projecting, which is the Bengals to pretty much handle that game. I'll take a Swift touchdown as well, David. You're welcome, man. Let's check back in on ZX. Umar, Downs, Deontay, or Tracy. I would go Downs and DJ. Okay. We slowed down a bit. Well, slow it down a little bit here on the questions for sure this morning. Again, I feel like we're in that thick of the season where we're starting to see some people kind of tailing off. You know, you're 0-5, 1-5. You know, if you don't win this week, people start to fall off a little bit. We also get the London game, so always brings the questions down a touch. Let's see here. C ladder batter. Should have benched ETN for Mixon, so I'm in a spot. Mixon or Zay Flowers. I'd go Flowers. Neil Wicks or Pittman. I'll go Pittman there, Neil. Same question. I just had Dynasty 39. I'd go Pittman over Wicks this week now with the news that Flacco's playing. Also, with everybody else playing for Wicks, I'm just going to dump him down a bit more into that little bit of a boomer bust territory for Dontavian Wicks this week. Still could have a good game, but there'll be more mouths to feed now with everybody active. Bears are putting it on the Jaguars here. Now at this point. Oh, sneezed over here. All right, book it. Eli, Pollard, Robinson, or Higgins. I'd go Pollard. CK, Hubbard, or Flowers. I'd go Hubbard. Cy, Braylon Allen, or Justice Hill. I would go Justice Hill there. Drop Benson or Bixby to pick up Vidal. I would. I think you got to pick your choice here, David. Obviously, the Jags run game disappointed today. So Bixby, up and down ride. He's kind of a backup. Benson, no volume at all unless Connor gets hurt, but Connor could get hurt. So I think you have to pick, do you trust the Arizona offense more than you trust the Chargers offense? Vice versa here, David. That's how you're going to look at it. Because they're both in a handcuff. Like JK could get hurt. If JK doesn't get hurt, he is probably the lead the entirety of the season. But that's a big question. James Conner obviously has had his own injury woes. If he gets hurt, Benson probably steps in, splits some time with the Mercado. So if you look at it that way, Vidal probably has a clearer role if something was to happen to JK as opposed to what Benson would have. I'm probably still holding Bigsby. So I'd just pick between Benson and Vidal, David, whichever you choose. I'd probably still just hold Benson. I think the upside's still there if something happens. But I guess if you don't trust that JK can stay healthy and you think he's more likely to get hurt, I would probably go Vidal. Today without Bigsby, it's a game script thing. He had that fumble on the kickoff, like I just said. You're seeing a lot of Dearness Johnson on a trip that's over here. So it's up and down with Bigsby. We'll have to see going forward, but I wouldn't overreact and just drop him right now. Let's see here. Dynasty Hub, Rico Dowdle, Gibson, or Sermon. I'd go Gibson here for you. Title Pursuit, Slayton, or Jamison Williams. I would go J-Mo there. Fighter Jet, Tracy, or Irving. I would go Tracy there. Brenda Raleigh, Wandell Robinson, or Devonta Smith. I would go Devonta. Brendan Steele, Mixon, Tracy, and Irving. Need 2. Mixing and Tracy. We have Flex and Tracy, Downs, or Tolbert. I would go Downs. Hubbard or Pollard. I would go Hubbard. Ridley or Tyrone Tracy. I would go Tracy for Pop on X. Garlinick, Irving, or Connor. I would go Connor. Obviously, doing the show and just watching the game, I'm not exactly sure how bad ETN is, but it sounds like it's really bad. How many points does he have yet? Anybody looking at it and care to divulge the information? Because it sounds like people aren't having that. Pretty wild. I see that the ECR has Bucky Irving as the 14th ranked player this week. Yeah, they're going to be in for a shock when that doesn't happen. Because that ain't happening. Maybe it will. Maybe I'll look like the idiot. Could happen. It's happened before. That blows my mind. What does FTN have? Let me see what our rankers have on consensus at. Because that blows my mind. That they have them that high. Huh? Yeah, they all got them up there too. It's like I'm the only one. I don't need to be right or wrong, I guess. Huh? We'll see, I guess. Harriet Gamson, which one do I start? Mooney, Pittman, or Shaheed? That's Mooney for me there, Harriet. Start 3, Henry, Pollard, Montgomery, Bijan. Ooh, that's tough. Henry, Monty, and Bijan. You're welcome, David. Hopefully it all works out. Good luck to you. And like you said, everybody else. Hopefully we get a majority of these to work out here. Never going to be perfect. It ain't going to happen. Trust me. I've tried for way too long to be perfect at this, and it doesn't happen. All it does is drive you insane. We're going to get things wrong. Everybody's going to get things wrong. No matter who the ranker is. And if they tell you they won't, they're lying to you. It happens. We miss weeks. We have good weeks. We have bad weeks. So hopefully this one's a good one. More good than bad. That's what we're shooting for here for y'all. Especially you, David. Especially you for hanging out for as long as you did. Let's see here. Let's see. Got another question rolling in here. Running back 2 start Daniel, Gibson, Sermon, or Mason, or Madison. Not Mason. Gibson for me there. Biblical losses. I would go Tracy. Monty, and Irving. There. Sitcho Mixon on that one. Jonathan Bay, Downs, Olave, Williams. I'll go Downs. Jamal, Slayton, Chase Brown, or Eckler. I would go Eckler here for you. I think it's a really good spot against Baltimore. They're going to have to throw the football a little bit more than the run game. And I think that's where you'll see Eckler go ahead and get some of those nice, easy targets, stuff like that for you there. A little bit safer, too, because he'll probably be involved in the run game as well with no Brian Robinson. Let's see here. Let's see. Any other questions rolling in here? Welcome, Jamal. Hopefully it works out. Thank me later. Or you can yell at me later. Two choices. Preferably, hopefully, for both of us, it's a thank you later. Joe, Blender, Dowdle, or Moss. I'll go Moss there. Landon, Pyle, Sermon, or Ford. I would go Sermon. Irving, Pickens, or Slayton. I'll go Slayton. I'd go Tracy, Jamal. Take the running back. Good volume, likely to have that similarities to what he had last week. I don't know if the production will be there, but he'll have the volume that he had last week. R on X, Fields or Goff. I would go Goff there. Sermon, Gibson, Najee, or Jamison Williams. I'd go Najee Harris there. I think Victor. Yeah, let's go Najee. Bruiser, give me one running back from below for this week. James Cook, Merving, Mixon, or Irving. I'd go Irving here. I'd like it to be James Cook, but with the injury, you can't really risk the biscuit for it without a pivot there, Bruiser. So I'll go Irving for you there. It's an easy enough pivot. Gambling corner, Moss or Chase Brown. I prefer Moss to Brown this week. Real Texan Downs or Slayton would be Downs for me. Biblicals, one more Downs or Robinson. I would go Downs. Flacco for me, is all wheels up there for Josh Downs. I think Josh Downs is a superior talent. I think that we get the best of him when he has a quarterback similarities to Joe Flacco. It's a tougher matchup against a secondary that's been pretty solid for Tennessee, but I think that they'll get the job done from what is a division matchup. All right, well, it's looking like we dried up here on the questions. I'm not going to sit around and stare at the camera and let you guys look at me for no reason. So what we're going to do, we'll cut bait, we'll cut loose here. If you do have questions and you are watching and something arises in the next 40 minutes or so, feel free to send that question over to me on Twitter, and I will go ahead and get that answered for you promptly. And hopefully before the start of the kickoff. I do have a little bit going on. It is my daughter's birthday today, so we are getting some of that stuff in order as well, and obviously hanging out with her. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. And then if you guys have questions, like I said, send them over on Twitter, and I will try to get to those questions for you promptly prior to the 1 p.m. kickoffs. But until then, enjoy the Bears continuing to thump the Jacksonville Jaguars. And good luck to all. Hopefully the questions and answers are correct for you this week. And as always, I will be back here again at 11 a.m. next week for the same thing, answering those questions and getting us some wins out there. All right. Take care.